Having kids is great, and hearing their questions about God and heaven is really difficult sometimes because the questions are so beautiful and honest, and then you have to try to answer it without your theological lingo hiding your ignorance, right? So here's a question that Peter asked me the other day. Where is heaven? Is it a place? And so I would stretch that question and say, is it within the universe? Is it in if we live in a multiverse, is it one of them? Apparently it has to be somewhere. So where is it? And yeah, I guess that's it. Where is it?
So I have no idea.
Good answer.
Unsatisfying, but the most honest I can provide. I guess we have a kind of confidence that it will be somehow connected with our experience of the material in this life, because the apostles and the women, the faithful women, recognize Jesus, right? So they recognize his glorified body, even though it exhibits these attributes of, immutability and clarity and agility and subtlety, etc.
Speaking of another Frenchman in this regard, Pascal, he actually addresses the question, like, how do we get to heaven from here? Like, what does it even mean? Like, how do you get there? And he says something to the effect of, it's more bizarre that we went from nowhere and nothing to here than we should go from here to heaven.
There you go.
That's a good answer.
I like that, yeah. So yeah, we have some confidence that it will be a place in as much as Christ has a body, the Blessed Virgin has a body. But place can be variously defined, as St. Thomas treats in his discussion of the angels. He says place can be understood as as contained therein, but it can also be understood as exercising influence there. Yeah. Right? So I don't think that it will be place in the way that we experience place here, like literally this kind of place, like the innermost... the innermost limit of a containing body, I think, is Aristotle's definition. Who cares? Whatever.
No, I like that. That's really neat.
Hey, cheers. But it will be something that takes into account our materiality, because with an eye towards the resurrection of the dead, and it'll be something wherein we can enjoy a communion that is embodied, right? That's not to say that it will be crassly material, but that it will take account of and transfigure the matter that is present. So I have no idea.
Well, I mean, when you read Aquinas, I think it's in the supplementary section, he talks about heaven, and it seems like he has like a really weird view of heaven, in that, according to his view, it would seem like there's no grass, there's no trees, there's no animals. Am I right in assuming that was his view?
I haven't read the supplement. Yeah. Spoilers.
Where is it?
Track it down.
I have it somewhere. I actually do.
Nice.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. Let it ride.
Okay. Well, I don't want to attribute to Aquinas something that's false, but I thought he was kind of saying that, because people often ask if their dogs go to heaven, and why don't you share that with us? Burst our bubble. What does Aquinas have to say? You vicious brute, you. What's the deal?
So all dogs don't go to heaven, with the exception of, what was it, Black Russian Terriers? Yeah, they're good, especially if named Pushkin, so you'll be fine. Yep. It'll be great. You don't care.
I don't care. I like my dog, but like if he died, I'd be fine.
Yeah.
I feel terrible about that. You meet people who have this great relationship with their dog, but if my dog got sick, and it doesn't matter. I could get in trouble for saying this.
Nice. Okay. So dogs going to heaven, yay or nay? Here's my initial thought. Well, one, I think a healthy agnosticism is appropriate. I don't think one should be like overly swaggeringly certain about the fate of dogs, because I think being overly swaggeringly certain about anything that happens after that.
I want that on a shirt. You ought not to be. Anyway.
So what would you say? Well, there are different kinds of souls. So there's plant souls, there's animal souls, there's human souls. And plant souls and animal souls don't have any operation which transcends the bodily organs in which they take place. So they're circumscribed by the organs. What does that mean? Okay, so if you're these things, you got nutrition, you've got growth, you've got reproduction, you've got sense cognition, like outer senses, inner senses, you got sense appetite, so like the passions, you've got locomotion. But all of those things are delimited by, are wholly bound by the corporeal organs. So the thought is that when the body fails and dies, that the form just breaks up, as it were, or it just passes out of existence. Whereas with human souls, we have two powers, namely intellect and will, which are seated in corporeal organs. So it's right to associate our intellect with our mind, with our brain, right? But it's not wholly delimited by that. So it's not seated in that organ so as to be kind of stuck there, as it were, because it has an operation that transcends the organ. So, as a result of which, we judge that this activity perdures, and so the soul perdures, and so the soul passes on to some state beyond the present one. Whereas we can't make that same jump with animals. And so when it comes to animals' eternal fate, we're just, all that we're saying when we say that we're not especially sanguine on their hopes is that they seem to perish with the body.
Yeah.
But then you take account of this vision of heaven, right? So you got beatific vision, and then you got kingdom of heaven dimensions. So heaven is something that's both intellectual, volitional, right? A loving vision of God that wholly engages the person, but one that has dimensions that extend beyond the individual person. It's not as if all those heaven dwellers just gaze on the vision of God and are entranced thereby, irrespective of their environment. It's something that actually has us in communion. So it's like a new heavens and a new earth. There's a lot of kingdom imagery, which seems to entail that it'll be like a polity. So if that's the case, then there will be citizens, and the citizens will play out every dimension of a city. Wow. And so I think we can have hopes for the recovery of certain earthly things, purged of their earthly imperfections and transfigured in that realm. And so I realize this may be unorthodox when it comes to the Thomistic line, but I mean, like, I wouldn't be surprised to see dogs in heaven. I'd be like, oh, what's up? Nice.
Yeah. Or I know I was talking to Tim Staples, who I used to work with at Catholic Answers, and he said he thinks there'll be hunting in heaven. We need animals to hunt, and he wasn't joking.
Hey, if you enjoyed that clip, you will absolutely love the full interview, so click right there to enjoy the whole thing. Also, a big thanks to these groups who made that interview possible. Learn more in the show notes below about these guys. They're absolutely incredible, and honored to have them as sponsors. Oh, and also, if you haven't subscribed yet, click subscribe and then that bell button. That way YouTube will be forced to let you know when we put out more content.